What's going on, world? My name is Adonis Johnson. I hope you guys are having an amazing Saturday. Listen, this could be called the Rude Awakening. This could be called the Alternate Rap. I believe that this is your calling to stop and just ground yourself. Work with me as I work with you. I am the creator of I Am My Life Coach. It is study evolving, and I want to share this with you guys. I pray that you guys can have a moment for yourself and take some time for yourself, right? I always have 3 modules, I like to say, right? 3 modules, right? And those 3 modules, one is self-realization, right? That's something that we definitely need to take into consideration. If you never took it into consideration, this will be a good time to do so, right? 2, self-discovery. Self-discovery is very important. That's when you're learning things about yourself that you just didn't even know, right? You didn't even know some of the people that upset you and make you mad and all these different things, right? You have to discover that this is a program. Someone else cannot have that much authority over how you feel, right? I'm here to break the gap and set aside you, right? Set aside you from everything else that you thought was you is really not you. I have discovered so much about myself, studying myself, working with myself, and that is the same thing I do when I come on and I look to assist some of you. I received a call today, and that call was like, can you please do a rude awakening? I can use it. I need it, right? And so that's what inspired me to come out and broadcast out to the world. Penelope, hello. That's what inspired me to broadcast out into the world and see who can pick my voice up, right? Who can pick my voice up? And number 3 is self-recovery, right? Some of you have to recover now. Recover a lot of things that you lost, right? A lot of things that you lost. I'm not going to say I feel bad. It's impossible to feel bad for someone else without judging them, right? I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm here to do what I started. I'm here to do what I started, and that is continue down my path, right? Down my path. And when I'm down on my path and I'm going on my path, some of you are called to my path. That's why we meet up. That's why we're here. We know exactly the foundation. We know exactly we the Invisible Crown Army. We know exactly that it is about respect. Respect what? Respect your walk, respect where you at, and respect where you going. But in the process, there's other things that interfere with this walk, right? I repeat, I will not be long. So I gave you my 3 concepts, right? Self-realization, self-discovery, self-recovery. Now, the flip side to those 3 is this right here. You learn, you unlearn, you relearn. You learn, you unlearn, you relearn. It sounds like words, just words, but it has to be words backed by action, right? You have to back up your word. I must tell you, it took so much to practice everything I say. I believe that it can happen. Anything I ever done, I spoke it first, and then I put the actions behind it, right? And sometimes I had to recognize, and it took a long time, that everybody speaking, but they don't mean the same. They don't have the same process as I have, right? In order to make progress, you must understand it takes a process. Many of us, we don't want to go in the process. The process is too long. We dread the process. We've been down this road before. For some of you, you feel like you lost too much time. Well, let's just shoot that down right now. You cannot possibly believe that you lost too much time when you're not the creator of time. You're not the creator of time. But if you want to reap an amazing harvest, then you have the perfect transformation coach right here to assist you with this. This is not going to be easy, but nothing is, right? Nothing is easy until you understand what you're doing. When you understand what you're doing, you can teach it to someone else. But you can't teach something to someone else that you do not understand. And when you do not understand, you have to put it into practice. You have to keep practicing it until you understand exactly how it's supposed to taste, how it's supposed to look, how it's supposed to sound, right? How it's supposed to, you have to practice. And for many of us, we have failed in the practicing process, right? We have not made a lot of progress, or we seeing people stumble and fall. They're in the same spot, and your heart is so attached to them, right? You feeling their emotions because they are not respecting the process, and that's why many do not make the progress that they would like to make. Every last one of you that will be joining me today, you have your own path, your own goals, your own desires, and unfortunately, no one on this planet want the same thing you want, right? They might can relate to it, but what you put in your mouth won't add anything onto them. What you listen to will not assist them, right? What your eyes is attracted to will not entice them at all, right? But what happens is that we get distracted because we feel that what we want is not obtainable, right? So I want to assist you with this process and help you get down the road. I have one scripture I want to give to you, and I also will be loading this video to YouTube. Today I had to choose between YouTube and Facebook. I loaded up for YouTube, but I said, you know what? I decided I'm going to make this video on Facebook one more time, right? And my time is getting real limited with this little Facebook audience here. I'm not going to trap myself in to keep trying to feed people that's not taking the time out for themselves, right? I know there's bigger, better, greater waiting on me, big workshops, big conventions all over the world, right? That would love to actually compensate me and pay me to come and impart something in their life that will help their life elevate, that will help their life make some progress. Some things you just gonna have to pay for. And for many of you guys, I can't say enough that I'm really grateful for those that have the pure heart, which means they have the heart of God. And for those that hate on people that has the heart of God, that means, they just love anything that's beautiful, right? When you love something that's beautiful, that's because it's the heart of God. You only can be attracted according to who you are, not who you want to be, right? So you draw on to the heart of God because 9 times out of 10, you have the heart of God. What corrupts the heart of God is your thinking. Your thinking kicks in. I don't want no one else to want this individual. I don't want them to surpass me, right? There go jealousy. I don't want them to do good because I'm afraid if they do good, then I'm used to helping them and now they're surpassing me. I mean, how is it that they're doing better than me? They got more, they're happy now. They out having a good time and I'm the one over here mad. But I helped them. I remember back in the days. You see, that mentality corrupts the good heart, right? I hit something and I stopped and I wanted to grab it in, but I got to keep this thing limited. I might just do the live on Facebook as well. So I gave you guys that, and I must also give you my disclosure. The disclosure is you got 3 ways to look at this. One, you can accept what I'm saying and use it for a later day. 2, you can reject what I'm saying and say, peace out. I don't have time. This is my Saturday. I don't have time to motivate myself. I got things to do, people to see, and hey, I'm going to keep it moving. That's good. Or 3, you can neglect what I'm saying. You're going to hear me. You're going to get online. You're going to hear a little motivation or whatever, and then you're going to get off and you're going to go do the same thing. I don't need people loyal. I take loyalty over love. Yeah, I do, because you can love someone and still fold on them. You can love someone and still allow people to talk about them. You can love someone and still not act, right? There's something called the 5 love languages, right? And I have read this book probably over 14 times trying to dissect this book so that I can properly position this book in a way that it will be beneficial, not just to the woman, but also to the man, right? And when it comes down to the 5 love languages, right, you're supposed to pick one love language, right? That's your primary, then you pick a secondary, right? Well, we all know what majority will pick. Most people pick, if you're a woman, female, most of the females pick time and touch, right? Time and touch. And believe me, there's time, there's touch, there's acts of services, there's words of affirmation, and there's gifts, right? So they kind of struggle because you always want to receive, but technically, you know, your receiving has something to do with your giving. So that go a flaw right there, because if you love gifts, that means you love to give gifts. Unfortunately, many of you don't have no money. When you don't have no money, then how are you buying some gifts, right? That's why we are poor in this area, because we want to receive bags, shoes. Can you get my hair done for me? Can you pay for this, right? You see, those are gifts, right? Gifts that somebody else took their time to make money to give to you. So for many of you, you might think that gifts is your love language. If your love language is gifts, that means you should be giving more gifts, right? Okay. For me personally, I never said this in a public atmosphere, right? I never said this in a public atmosphere. My love language is words of affirmation. And I'm not saying words of affirmation because I am my life coach is an affirmation, which is a good one. Words of affirmation is my love language because it gives me my freedom. Love gives me my freedom. The only way that I can have freedom is to pay attention to what I'm saying, right? What I'm saying, the message I'm trying to relate to someone else. When I say this is exactly what I see, right? That means the words that I speak creates the picture. All I can do is speak from the picture of what I see in my head, not what I see trying to judge someone else. You see, that will be an error. When we decide somebody's doing good or somebody's doing bad, that puts you in a judgment seat, which is error. You're not here to judge another human being. The moment you judge them is the moment it puts you in slavery or prison. I got to get back to the main message, right? My primary love language will be words of affirmation. My secondary love language will be acts of services. That means when someone knows what I need, they meet the need. Because when I see somebody need help, they don't have to come and say, I need help. I can listen and say, hey, you know what? I know somebody that might can do this for you, right? That means that is acts of services. You don't sit around and watch somebody start a new business and yet you trying to find out every day, how's the business going? How's the business going? What you are signaling is that you have not made no contribution to this project. That's why you asking them. But if you was out acting out of love on the fact that this individual love language is acts of services, then I'm going to tell somebody about my friend or someone that I knows their work and hope that it will enhance not only what he's doing, because again, it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off. See, you can't think you're trying to help somebody else without helping someone else. It goes together. There has to be a trade, right? There has to be a trade of services. So at the end of the day, a lot of the times we miss that good goes with bad and up goes with down. You cannot have one without the other, right? So I wanted to give you guys this. I don't want to take away from my message. This message is going to be quick. It's going to be brief. I labeled this thing the launching pad. Your launching pad will be your landing pad. For many of you, you started out on this journey and you launched yourself out into something. and you don't know where you're located at right now. I don't know if it's in your finances. I don't know if it's you and your God relationship, your spiritual relationship. I don't know if it got something to do with you and your church. I don't know if it got something to do with you and your family. You just lost in the process. You feel like, I don't know what I'm supposed to receive from this, right? You and your child might not be connecting, right? You feel like you look a certain way. You ain't in no relationship right now. Why am I not pulling nothing? I look good. I done lost weight. I done got my face right. I got a little money maybe. I don't know, right? You are literally lost. You launched yourself out somewhere. I fell in love with somebody, right? And now I'm sitting here all sick. I can't sleep, baby, right? I can't eat, baby, without you, right? And I'm blaming somebody else for how I'm feeling, right? You launch yourself out, and now you don't know how to get back. You don't know where you at right now. I wanted to paint that picture for you real quick. What I ask in return, if you can share this feed, is going to be very short and brief. I want to give you a scripture that's very familiar with me. It does come with a plot twist. It will not be long. It's Matthew 27, right? Now check this out. I know when you hear the name Judas, you already heard the name Judas before. Who is Judas? He betrayed Jesus, right? This goes to show you, for many of us, we are instigators. We have allowed somebody to make us hate someone that we never met, we never seen. Not to mention, we out here in the world to this day, some people still saying, you got to watch your Judas, right? Your Judas comes to kill you, right? Your Judas, right? Yeah, and guess what? We have polluted who we are, because we're judging someone we don't even know and we don't even understand. So I want to take you guys to Judas, right? And please understand this. Judas 27. Judas 27, right? And Judas was one of the disciples that was with Jesus, right? He was one of the disciples that was with Jesus. And let me tell you something. One day in Judas, let's journey over to Judas 26. One day Judas was at the table, right? Now Judas was in charge of the money with Jesus. You got to get this plot twist. It's a twist. I'm finna flip the script for you. Judas was at the table. Judas 26:25 say, then Judas, the one who betrayed him, said, surely you don't mean me, Rabbi. Rabbi means teacher. So he's literally at the table talking to the teacher. Teacher. Higher self, lower self, right? And what I want you to understand is it says in a little bit down in the scenario, in the story, it says Satan slipped in on Judas. And at that moment, it was activated, right? Notice, Satan was not in Judas' plans at all. He was doing what he has always done, right? Now, let's flip over here. And let's go to where I want to start at, because I don't want this to be long. Matthew's 27:3. When Judas, who betrayed him, saw that Jesus was condemned. Stop right here. Remember I said your launching pad will be your landing pad. For many of you, some of the things that you do, you have to understand it was not in the best interest of the other individual, neither was it in the best interest of you. I'll say it again. Some of the things you have participated in. Remember I said some of you have launched out somewhere and you have got lost. You are a POW, a prisoner of war, or you MIA. You missing in action. And you looking for somebody to come and get you. And nobody's coming to get you. You're looking and you're praying and saying, I'm asking God to do this for me. I'm asking God, right? You're telling everybody what you asking, and yet nothing's happening, right? So it says, when Judas had betrayed him, he saw that Jesus was condemned. He was seized with remorse. He was seized with remorse. That means he felt bad about what he done. I'm here to ask each and every last one of you, I don't care where you at right now.
Yeah.
Find out where you at and find out what you did. Because wherever there's a cause, there is an effect. And what I'm saying is it has nothing to do with no one else. This is the law of God. Cause and effect is linked to sowing and reaping. Whatever you sow, you will reap, right? You sow apples, you get apples. You sow an apple seed, you get apples, right? You sow an orange seed, you get an orange tree. What am I saying to you? You only get back in return what you sow, right? So Judas saw that what he ended up doing cost somebody that didn't have nothing to do with this. I want to ask how many of you ever got into a relationship with someone brand new and you had your own way of dating this individual. You had your own idea. You could spot a sneaky crook if you see him. You can't stand a lying individual, right? You know when a person is out here and moving around and you don't want to look stupid, right? Come on, y'all. Be honest with yourself. This is what frees you. This is what frees you. Why do I say this is what frees you? Because you have been entangled by blaming someone else for the role that you did not govern or be responsible for. So let's go. Jesus was condemned. When Judas recognized this, he was seized with remorse. What that means? That means his eyes opened up and now he recognized, wow, I have messed up my friendship. I have messed up the one who was really trying to teach me something. I have accused the wrong one, set him up. What did I set him up with? I set him up by going off of my old information that didn't have nothing to do with him, right? It didn't have nothing to do. See, I can deal with who I made a deal with. But when I meet somebody new, then I don't need that deal, which will be a contract, which will be bondage, to be in play over here. But see, for many of us, we bound by what we done signed into. So now this is why we launched in a place and we never came back home. Today, you're finna find out how to get back home. It says, and return the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders. I have sinned. He said, you see, you are a sinner when you can't even pay attention to why you're doing some of the things you're doing, right? Because it's a routine. When you get into routine, when you launched yourself out in your teens, in your 20s, it was pure. You didn't know nothing about what you was doing. There was no rules to the road. There was nothing. You just went out, and truth be told, you was in your purest form. But now that it did not give you what you desire in your heart, it didn't give you something you can say you own. It don't give you a human being. The worst thing your mind could ever think is you own somebody else. And guess what, you guys? How many times have you played with this is yours? How many times have you played with I belong to you, right? How many times have your mind done sit here and manipulated something pure with what was already pre-programmed in here? You don't even know where it came from. This is not you, but you have to give an account to what's not you in order to take authority over this area. Come on, y'all. Judas literally looked at himself, came back and said, I have sinned. He said, for I have betrayed innocent blood. What does that mean for you? What that means for you is that when you recognize that you have polluted something pure. You see, many of you ever heard of something that says obedience is in scripture, is greater than sacrifice. It does not mean that for what you think it means. You see, many of us, we don't have the understanding, and I only ask that you let me help you with this. Obedience is greater than sacrifice, because when you had a desire for something, a dream, that was God saying, this is going to happen for you, but you're going to have to sacrifice everything else. That's what it means. You're going to have to sacrifice some time. You're going to have to sacrifice some money. You're going to have to sacrifice your old way of dating. You're going to have to sacrifice what so-and-so told you. You're going to have to sacrifice what you know to do, because what you know to do not get you anything. Many of you have to be engaged. That's why I created I Am My Life Coach. I Am My Life Coach allows you to be present in the right now and use this thing just like this. Do you want your coffee hot? Or do you want iced coffee, which is cold? One thing that does not change is the coffee. But what do change is how you want it, right? And somebody got to go make it according to how you want it. But for many of you, you never tried iced coffee because you was given hot coffee. And now you live in a world saying, who will make some coffee that's cold, right? Who will ever want to drink cold coffee? Because when it was introduced in your life, it was hot. But now iced coffee is on the menu, and whoever created it was considered a genius, but not a genius, because they just was using their mind. And they were saying that, you know what, if you can get it hot, then you should be able to get it cold. You should be able to determine this. Like Judas. Judas looked at this situation in verse 4, Matthew 27:4, I have sinned, he said, for I have betrayed innocent blood. Notice, this right here is he already launched this out when he had the first meeting with him. When he met with him and made the deal and said, I'm going to trade him in for that money, right? Many of you, I'm finna do what I do, whatever that might be, in the spiritual sector, the God sector. Spiritual and God is the same sector, okay? The financial sector, forget that. I ain't finna pay this bill. I'm going to get my hair done. I need to be good to myself. I ain't done nothing for myself. You see, you're manipulating the system. You want to be caught up on your bills, but you're not putting an effective system in place to make sure that your bills is covered. What am I saying? Your launching pad will end up being your landing pad. But for some of us, we have been launched in some areas where we don't know where we're at. We don't know what we done. We don't know how we got here. Some of us, it can be financial. Some of us, it can be emotional. Some of us, we are literally living in a single world, and we don't even know what single is, to be honest with you, because we just adopted to what someone said. You know, I'm single. I'm tired of dating. How can you get tired of dating when there's no rules to dating? You see, you're launched into something with no understanding, which is the best thing to do because, see, it's pure. But when you put expectations on something, that's what leads to disappointment. You see, your eyes lead you, you lock into what you like. Once you lock into what you like, then it converts over to pleasure. Once you get the pleasure from what you like, then it converts over into boredom. Now you bored because we don't do anything. Now you can find all the things that can try to identify with this feeling. It's all because you went in wrong, right? You went in wrong. And what do I mean by wrong? There's a wrong, but also it's connected to right. And the right way is connected to wrong. But what I'm trying to express to you is if you're not grounded, you won't even be able to see which way to go when you need to balance the situation out. For many of you, I need you to understand this. Balancing is a 24/7 type job because it involves you. It doesn't involve no one else but you. So I'm speaking out of Matthew 27, and I spoke in the fact that Judas, we literally are prejudiced because we have heard Judas betrayed somebody and he sat at the table, and now we don't like Judas and never met Judas. Judas don't even know who the hell you are. You can say you have heard this story. People out in the world still got you scared, and that has nothing to do with this story here. So I wanted to crack this story open, and I believe that this will bring it on home. And what I said is Matthew 27, 3 is that Judas, when Judas had betrayed him, Judas had to see that he was condemned, right? And he was seized with remorse. Right? See, some of you, your hurt is coming full throttle right now. I mean, you are in the hot fire, like hell on hell, okay? The worst scenario you are living in because you have not came to your senses to recognize that whatever you experiencing is the effect of what you caused. You see, cause and effect is a law. Just like the launching and the landing is an effect. The reason you have not landed where you're supposed to land at yet is because you are lost. P-O-W, prisoner of war, right? You are missing in action. So Judas had enough sense to sit here and say, man, I feel some type of way about this. I have sinned. He said, I have betrayed innocent blood. See, remember, you met somebody new and still tried to date them according to how you date. And can't nobody tell you how to date. But guess what? Your dating do not work. It never worked. So you pollute an innocent relationship because the moment you start doing what you have always done, your eyes lock in to what you see. Next thing you want is pleasure. Next thing you find out you're going to get is boredom. Then you're going to find yourself hating another individual because you still ain't understanding that you are living in sin because, right? Sin because you are a sinner. You are a sinner because you're not aware. But when you become aware, notice Judas said, I have sinned, right? He said, for I have betrayed innocent blood. What is that for us? That's what the other thing said. The other people, the other thoughts in your mind. What you did have to do with us. What does that mean? You can recognize this here threw me all the way off. What do my finances have to do with this, right? What do my spiritual connection with God have to do with me letting somebody lay between my legs, right? Another thing, what has this to do with how I raise my kids? What do our relationship have to do with my job? This is ignorance. Right here, right? Because what I'm trying to get you to understand, when you're lost because you launched into something, he's trying to bring you back. Because the only way you can have your full power is you have to come back and you have to land. You have to land this thing. So whatever you did, cause, effect, right? Reap what you sowed, right? And some of us, we still ain't figuring it out. So I'm here to bring understanding. Watch this. They replied, that's your responsibility. You see, for many of us, we participate in things and we blame the other individual for how you feel. The other individual ain't got nothing to do with how you feel. How you feel is your responsibility. In my book, I wrote, feelings is what you get for thinking the way you do. And for many of us, we're not thinking at all. I thought if I got with him, he was going to do this and he was going to do that. I thought he's supposed to be a man of God and man of God don't do this. I thought she was mature and come to find out she's insecure, she's jealous, she's crazy, she's one click away from just, I don't know, understand. I just don't want nothing to do with her, right? That's what you get when for thinking the way you do. And that is not thinking at all. So watch what Judas do. They said to Judas, that's your responsibility. So this is what Judas did, and this is what some of you have to do, and I'm done. Let's land this plane. Let's come back Only way we coming back is to land. So let's learn from Judas today. So Judas threw the money into the temple. That means I can no longer take with me what it is that I used to do. Old hurt, old pain, the old relationship. My best boyfriend was this person. Old girl, I should never left her, right? That relationship is done. You hear me? And the only way that relationship to be done is you have to renounce why it was done, right? It was done because you did not do your job. You did not stick to the assignment to balance out the relationship that you participated in. See, when you know your power, you lose your power. Your power is in making sure that the relationship you participate in stay balanced. That means to turn the other cheek when it's time, to give when it's time. Remember the lady that had the 2 coins? And Jesus said the one who gave the 2 coins gave the most. You see, that will be acts of services, right? Remember, I told you my love language is acts of services, right? Words of affirmation. She gave 2 coins because it was an offering. You see, the offering is when you hear someone in need, you step in and you provide. Sometimes when you hear somebody going through, you literally say, what can I do to help you with this situation? But what we like to do is you like to sit here and have instigator, naysayers. You like to sit here and just talk just to be talking, and that's not even your love language. So if it's not the love language, then you're not in love, which is freedom. You in slavery, which is an error. So Judas threw the money back in the church building, the temple, right? Because I can't take this with me and where I'm going. So watch this, you guys. This is interesting. So he threw the money and then he went away and he hanged himself. What does that mean? And I'm done. Hanging himself means I no longer exist in the relationship that I used to exist in. So you know how some of you be like, my ex, that X is a cross. Take the X and turn it like this. That's cross. That's a cross of Christ. That means now I can walk over and I know where I'm going now. But some of you still got an X like this as an error code. And you've been carrying this X all this time. You know, that person, my ex, you know, my old ex didn't do me like this. My old ex used to do all this. See, I want to go back to my ex. You cannot go back to an X. All you can do is remove an X. And when you remove an X and you turn it the proper way, then Christ shows up and say, you see an X the first time. But when Christ comes into you now and asks you, what do you see now? You say, I see you, Christ. I see you, Jesus. And when you see Jesus, which is the cross, it shows you that you now has been redeemed from whatever it is that you was trapped on, that you was marked on. See, that now you know what the target is. And now that you understand what the target is, now you can live holy. And holy is a mentality to know that I'm giving everything I participate in open evaluation. And that's how you become a virgin. A virgin, and you conceive a baby. A baby is you in a new space with a clear mind. You don't have to no longer use old references. You now live in the right now, and you have conceived something. And what you conceive now, that's up for you to determine. Thank you, guys. I am my life coach. You guys already know. Listen, I have some amazing events coming up, including my birthday. Y'all better understand me. Listen, I'm doing some great things coming up, you guys. You guys got to turn your notifications on. I'm going to start shooting my broadcast from YouTube. So you're going to have to definitely get on this YouTube channel. For those that knows my work is real, it will be a hindrance and it will be a setback for you. I have lost many good people on this broadcast just because of who they are, not because of me. Many people have given up on me. Many people have parted ways from me. Many people has frowned and allowed the devil or allowed Satan to come in and tear them down. And they gone. This broadcast used to get up, and I mean, we was all here, but only a few of us got out. Everybody else returned back. They back in their old ways. They're back in their old routine. And there's only going to be a few that will make tremendous progress. And that's because we understand the process. When you sow good, you're going to reap something good. Be not weary in well doing. You guys, because you know your help is coming. And your help is already here. Open up your mind. Open up your heart. Live in this new space. And stop holding on to things that interfere with where you're going in the right now. That's where your power is at. That's my word. Thank you guys for sharing the broadcast. And I look forward to seeing you at one of my events. There is a Halloween-ish thing tonight. And they asked for my presence to be present. Unfortunately, I have some other stuff I need to do. And I don't stop people from doing what they do. I don't judge no one because I can't judge no one without judging myself when I know exactly. I used to do the same thing. So if I did the same thing, right? If I did the same thing that now I don't like no more, if I sexed and I wasn't married, if I was drinking and I didn't just drink doing all these things, if I did these things and I don't do it anymore, that means when I did, if I don't like it, but I used to do it, but I don't like it now, that means I was enslaved. Okay? But if now I don't do what I used to do, that means I'm free. So to be free is to live in freedom, not judging individuals. Because when you was in here, no one, what somebody else said to you didn't matter. Because it was about your need and what you was doing. Come on, you guys, let's work together and let's make it happen. I got great things coming up. What's up, Auntie? My auntie on deck. That's why you my baby. Yeah. I got to tell y'all about that one, too. Not my auntie, but I got to tell y'all about the whole teaching thing. So, yeah, I got to be elevated. I got a birthday coming up in 2 weeks. New things, new levels, and I do love to teach. I love to teach. I believe teaching is an amazing thing, and that's the only thing that's going to give us understanding. And when you understand something, then you can teach what you now understand. But many of us, beware. He said that was false prophets, right? False prophets wasn't talking about the church. See, I'm giving y'all all this extra stuff. False prophets was not talking about in the church building. False prophet is when you sitting there telling yourself, you know, God told me. If God told you something, why weren't you listening? God is always going to speak something to you, but it's only for the greater good. See, false prophets is, that ain't God talking to you. That's no one talking to you, but a voice from your past, which will be a generational curse. Something that was programmed in your mind that don't have nothing to do with your true identity. I'm here to help you discover yourself, and I can only help you discover yourself if you're willing to help yourself. If you don't have the book, get the book. If you have the book, open it back up and let's start all over. I am my life coach. Peace and blessings.